This is our first example of a case involving a confidence interval where we don't know the standard deviation or don't know the variance of the underlying population. So we're going to have to use the sample standard deviation in these applications, which means we're stuck using the t distribution, which has that extra parameter degrees of freedom. So the equation that we're going to be using is x bar plus or minus for a two-sided confidence interval t alpha over 2 and n minus 1, that's our two parameters that we need, s times the square root of n. For our confidence interval, we're asked to find the 90% confidence interval, and we have 225 observations. The fact that we have more than 30 or 30 or more tells us that we don't have to make any assumption about this being a normally distributed case, and we simply need to find the confidence interval. So in our example, we start out with the mean of 596 plus or minus, we need our critical value, our t, and then we have our sample standard deviation, which is 4.103, and the square root of n, which is 225. So the only thing we need now is our t, and we're going to need t, and we need the parameters of alpha over 2 and n minus 1. Well, our alpha over 2 is going to be, our alpha is 10%. So it's, when we have a 90% confidence interval, alpha is 10%. So we want alpha over 2 to be 5%, and n minus 1 is 224. So 5% and 224. When we look at the t table, this is table A9. I'm going to zoom in on our range of interest. We can see that we wanted to find the 90% confidence interval, so our alpha is 5%, which means that this capital F0 is going to be 0.95, so we're going to be looking somewhere across here, and we want 224, which lies somewhere in here, so we want a number that's between 1.65 and 1.65. So because those numbers are actually the same, we don't have any linear interpolation that we need to do. So our value of t is 1.65. So we're ready to continue with our problem. But I need to zoom back out. Whoop, too much. So that left us with 1.65 as our value of t. And when I did this, I got 11.596 plus or minus 0.451, which gave me a mean somewhere in the interval of 11.145 to 12.047, and my units here are seats. And that's the end of case C.